When we think of the rich, we often imagine bold moves, high-stakes investments, viral businesses, dramatic career wins. But what if I told you that the real path to wealth is far quieter and far more repeatable? It's not about luck. It's not about being born into money. And it's definitely not about flashy success stories. In fact, most millionaires, the ones who stay rich, didn't do it loudly. They did it through invisible discipline. Small actions, repeated daily. Compounding quietly while the rest of the world wasn't paying attention. While others are chasing crypto tips, gambling on meme stocks, or upgrading their lifestyle every time they get a raise, the wealthy are doing something different. Something boring. Unsexy, but incredibly effective. They're stacking habits that quietly build wealth in the background, day after day, year after year. You won't see these habits trending on TikTok. They won't earn you applause at dinner parties. But they will buy you freedom, the kind of freedom most people only dream of. No debt, no stress, passive income. Time to think, build, rest, live. In this video, I'll reveal 7 financial habits that don't make headlines, but they do make millionaires. These are the rituals behind the results. The blueprint that turns discipline into dollars. They don't look impressive at first, but give them a few years and they'll change your life. Pay close attention to the last one. It's the one most people overlook, yet it's the single habit that makes all the others possible. 1. Automating your investments. Building wealth while you sleep. Most people think wealth comes from willpower. I just need to try harder. Next month I'll save more. But here's the truth. Wealth isn't built by trying. It's built by removing friction. And that starts with automation. When you automate your investments, you eliminate the decision altogether. You don't have to remember. You don't have to choose. You don't even have to trust yourself, because the system handles it for you. Whether it's $100 a week or $2,000 a month, that money is invested the moment you get paid. No detours. No delays. Just steady, silent progress. This is how wealthy people operate. They don't wait to see what's left over at the end of the month. They pay themselves first, automatically, before the money hits checking, before lifestyle temptations kick in. The investment is already in motion. That's how you build wealth without relying on motivation, discipline, or memory. Look at the math. $500 a month invested automatically into an S&P 500 index fund over 25 years, assuming an average 8% annual return, grows to over $472,000. No market timing, no magic, just consistency. And if your income rises and you increase contributions by just 5% a year, you'll break 7 figures quietly. Automation doesn't just help you save. It helps you avoid emotion. You're not buying when you feel greedy or holding back when you feel afraid. You're dollar-cost averaging, buying through dips and peaks alike. Over time, that beats most hands-on investors. Start small. Automate $50 a week. Use platforms like Vanguard, Fidelity, Betterment, or Wealthfront. Set it. Forget it. Watch it grow. Because once investing becomes a background process, you stop relying on motivation and start relying on math. 2. Living below your means and not advertising it. The art of invisible wealth. Living below your means isn't just smart. It's radical in today's world. Everywhere you look, there's pressure to show off, to upgrade, to post a new car, the designer clothes, the luxury trip. But here's what most people don't realize. The richest people rarely look rich. Because they're not trying to impress, they're trying to build. Living below your means doesn't mean living poorly. It means spending less than you earn and do it intentionally. It means resisting the urge to scale your lifestyle with every raise. It means saying no when everyone else is saying, treat yourself. And most importantly, it means not broadcasting your restraint. True wealth doesn't scream. It whispers. David from Seattle made $120,000 a year, but he lived on $60,000. He drove a paid-off Corolla, rented a modest apartment, wore simple clothes, and invested the rest. His friends made fun of his lifestyle. But 10 years later, He had $500,000 in investments and no debt. His friends? Still leasing cars, still swiping credit cards, still wondering why they couldn't get ahead. This is the hidden superpower of the wealthy: stealth. They don't chase attention, they chase assets. They understand that the more they spend on image, the less they have for freedom. Every unnecessary expense is a delayed dream. Every flex is a future sacrifice. You don't need to deprive yourself. You just need to be intentional. Spend on what truly matters. Cut what doesn't. And most importantly, stop trying to prove anything to anyone. Because the moment you stop trying to look rich, you give yourself permission to actually become rich. So next time you feel the urge to upgrade, ask yourself, is this in my life or for their attention? Because peace, freedom, and options don't come from luxury. They come from discipline in the shadows. 3. Keeping a 6 to 12-month emergency fund, the foundation of financial freedom. There's a quiet kind of confidence that comes from knowing you can survive the unexpected. No panic, no scrambling, just clarity and control. That's what an emergency fund gives you, and why every wealthy person protects it like a vault. Life will surprise you. Layoffs, medical bills, car repairs, family emergencies. They don't knock before they enter. And when they do, most people reach for credit cards, loans, or worse, they liquidate investments and set back years of progress. But those with an emergency fund, they don't flinch. Michelle from Denver was laid off unexpectedly, but she had saved 9 months of living expenses. While her co-workers rushed to file unemployment and cut expenses overnight, Michelle took time to breathe, assess, and start her own freelance business. 6 months later, she was making more than her old job, and she never touched a credit card. An emergency fund isn't just financial. It's psychological armor. It gives you power in negotiations. It lets you say no to toxic work. It creates space to pause and think. Instead of panicking and reacting, it turns crisis into opportunity. So how much is enough? Aim for 6 to 12 months of core living expenses: rent, food, insurance, utilities. Not luxury spending, not vacations, just what you need to survive and reset. If that number feels big, start small. Build $1,000, then $5,000, then 1 month. Stack it until you're untouchable. Where do you keep it? High-yield savings account, money market, separate checking. Somewhere safe, liquid, and boring. Remember, this money's job is stability, not growth. It's the safety net that keeps you in the game long enough to win. Because without it, every setback becomes a spiral. But with it, you stop living on the edge. You start playing from a place of strength. 4. Tracking your spending weekly. Awareness is the beginning of wealth. Most people don't have a money problem. They have an awareness problem. They don't know where their money goes. They think they're being careful, but their spending is full of leaks, $9 subscriptions, $60 dinners, impulse purchases that disappear from memory in days. And you can't fix what you don't track. That's why wealthy people track their spending religiously, not to obsess, not to micromanage, but to understand. Because clarity leads to control, and control leads to freedom. Weekly tracking, not monthly, not yearly, give them a real-time pulse on their money and allows them to adjust before it's too late. Tyler from Chicago started doing weekly spending reviews every Sunday. It took 15 minutes. He used a spreadsheet and a simple question: where did every dollar go this week? In 3 months, he uncovered over $600 a month in non-essential spending, money he redirected into investments. In a year, he saved over $7,000 without earning a single extra dollar. You don't need a fancy app, a notebook, a Google Sheet, Mint, YNAB, whatever works. The tool doesn't matter, the consistency does. Weekly tracking builds consciousness, and consciousness is the gateway to discipline. You stop wondering where the money went, because you already know. Here's the real win. When you track consistently, your spending naturally improves. Not because you force it, but because what gets measured gets managed. You begin to see your habits in real time, and that gives you power. It becomes easier to say no to things that don't align, easier to prioritize what truly matters. So if you feel like money's always slipping through your fingers, start here. Track it, not later, not next month, this week, because a habit of awareness is a habit that quietly rewires your financial future. 5. Making your lifestyle upgrade slower than your income, the hidden discipline of the wealthy. Every time your income increases, you face a test, and most people fail it. They get a raise and immediately upgrade. Bigger apartment, better car, new wardrobe. It feels like progress, but it's actually financial paralysis dressed as success. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the most dangerous, invisible wealth killers out there. Because even if you double your income, if you also double your spending, you're still stuck in the same place, just with fancier furniture. Wealthy people take a different path. When their income rises, they pause, they wait to upgrade, sometimes for years. And instead of increasing consumption, they increase contribution to investments, to savings, to freedom, because they understand that every time you delay a lifestyle upgrade, you widen the gap between what you earn and what you keep. Samantha from New Jersey got a $20,000 raise. Instead of moving into a nicer place, she kept her current rent, invested $1,000 a month, and 6 years later had over $90,000 in her portfolio, all from not upgrading. That's the power of restraint. That's what gives you leverage later. There's a simple rule. Upgrade your lifestyle slower than your income. If your income jumps by 30%, maybe increase your lifestyle by 10% and invest the rest. Build the habit of letting your wealth grow quietly in the background while your outward life remains calm, steady, unshaken. And when you do upgrade, do it intentionally, not emotionally. Don't upgrade because you feel behind or want to impress. Upgrade when it's aligned with your values, your goals, and your long-term strategy. Because in the end, no one gets rich by spending more every time they earn more. You get rich by keeping that gap wide and letting your money buy freedom, not furniture. 6. Saying no to high-interest debt, the quiet war that builds wealth. You can't build wealth if your money is constantly leaking out the back door. And that's exactly what high-interest debt is, a silent thief. It doesn't scream. It doesn't shock. It just quietly drains your future one minimum payment at a time. Credit cards, payday loans, buy now, pay later schemes. They look harmless, convenient, even manageable. But when you're paying 18% to 25% interest, you're not just losing money, you're losing momentum. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that's not building your future. It's buying someone else's. Mark from Phoenix had $12,000 in credit card debt. He made minimum payments for years, thinking he was keeping up. In total, he paid over $17,000 in interest, more than the debt itself. When he finally realized the trap, he stopped everything, picked up extra shifts, and paid it off in 18 months. That one decision became the turning point in his financial life. Wealthy people treat high-interest debt like a 5-alarm fire. They do whatever it takes to get rid of it, and then refuse to go back. They use credit cards for points and convenience, sure, but they pay them off in full every month, without fail, because they know the cost of carrying a balance is more than dollars. It's opportunity lost. If you're stuck in high-interest debt, don't panic. But do get strategic. Use the avalanche method. Pay off the car with the highest interest first while making minimums on the rest. Then attack the next. Or the snowball method. Smallest balance first for motivation. Use apps like Tally or UnDBT IT to stay organized and on track. And once you're out, stay out. Build a system so you never carry a balance again. Set up alerts. Automate payments. Build an emergency fund so you don't rely on debt in a crisis. Because the truth is simple. You can't climb if you're chained. And high-interest debt is a chain disguised as convenience. Break it, and you'll feel the difference in your net worth and your nervous system. 7. Learning about money weekly, the habit that changes every other habit. You can't become what you don't understand. And yet, Most people spend 40 plus hours a week earning money, and 0 hours learning how to manage it. That's the real reason so many stay stuck. Not because they're lazy or incapable, but because they never built a habit of financial literacy. The wealthy, they study money like it's a second language. Not once a year, not during tax season, but weekly. They listen to podcasts while commuting, read one chapter of a finance book each night, watch a YouTube video while cooking dinner, because they know every new insight, every concept, strategy, mindset shift is a seed that compounds over time. Jasmine from Portland started reading for 20 minutes a night about money. Just 20 minutes. In 1 year, she learned about index funds, taxes, real estate, and negotiation. She increased her salary by 15%, started investing for the first time, and built a side income stream, all because she fed her mind consistently. The best part? You don't need a degree or thousands of dollars. You just need curiosity and consistency. Start with books like I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, or The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. Listen to podcasts like Bigger Pockets, The Ramsey Show, or Afford Anything. Subscribe to YouTube channels that teach, not just flex. Make it a ritual. Every Sunday night, every morning commute, every gym session. Small bites, big growth. Because when you change the way you think about money, you change the way you act. And when you change the way you act, your entire financial destiny shifts. Remember, ignorance is expensive, but the good news? It's also optional. Start learning, start growing, and watch what happens to your wealth, your confidence, and your options. Most people think building wealth requires some big break, a perfect investment, a lucky business idea, a windfall. But here's the truth the wealthy know. Real wealth is not loud, not fast, not flashy. It's built through invisible habits repeated with intention. You've just uncovered 7 of those habits. Automating your investments, living below your means, protecting yourself with an emergency fund, tracking your spending, slowing your lifestyle creep, refusing high-interest debt, feeding your mind with financial wisdom every single week. None of them look exciting on the outside, but inside, they're revolutionary. These are the moves most people never see because they're not shared on social media. But that's what makes them powerful. While the world is chasing hacks, tricks, and shortcuts, you're building something stronger, a system, a mindset, and a foundation that can't be shaken. So let me ask you, which of these 7 habits are you already doing? Which one do you need to start today? Drop a comment below. Doing this or starting now? I read every one, and your words might inspire someone else to finally take action. Because in the end, money doesn't change who you are, it amplifies who you are. And if you build the habits of quiet discipline, thoughtful action, and long-term vision, your money will reflect that, not immediately, but inevitably. While others try to look rich, you're becoming rich, silently, intentionally, permanently.